Welcome to my preview of the EasyPost Hawaii Bowl featuring 6-6 Memphis versus 6-7. You heard me right, 6-7 Hawaii on Friday, December 24th, 8 p.m. on ESPN. Hawaii having to get an exception, actually had to create an additional bowl game this season so that Hawaii would be able to make it into a bowl game, not coming in here with an even record, which is the standard for teams entering into bowl matchups. So here, entering into the season with entering the end of the season here with a losing record because of that Hawaii exemption where they play 13 games, or they're eligible to play 13 games a season. Interestingly enough, any team that plays Hawaii also gets to schedule a 13th game for their season. So kind of an incentive to make the long trip out to Hawaii to go play them in the islands. So this is a big game here for Hawaii to try and get to that even record. They're going through a rough time right now with their top players transferring out. It's going to be a big ask to come in here and beat a Memphis team that has not had a great season. Honestly, overall, really hasn't lived up to expectations, at least not expectations I had for the program coming to this one. A 6-6 Memphis team. So if there's any team that Hawaii might have a chance of being able to beat here, it's Memphis. But Memphis has got a great quarterback. They've had some close wins. Have had some close losses. They've beaten some good teams. We're going to talk about that here later. So this is not a team that Hawaii is necessarily going to be able to just roll over, and that goes without saying. Any of those schools out of the AAC are usually pretty competent when it gets to bowl season. So this is going to be a tough one for Hawaii to try and get the win on. If they were coming in full strength, I think they could do it. We're going to have to see here, go through this preview and see if they can get it even with what they're looking at now with their top quarterback and top running back out. But having said that, Memphis is favored by 7.5 points by Vegas. Hawaii favored by ESPN, given a 55.6% chance of winning according to ESPN. The series history, first ever meeting between these two programs. They've never met before. That is a trend throughout the bowl season, first ever meetings between two teams, and this is another one. Record review, I was projecting an 8-4 record for Memphis. I thought they could do it coming off of Sorry, I had it open here before this video started, but I think it's coming off an 8-3 record versus last season, and then a 12-2 record the year before that. I really thought 8 wins was in the tank for them. They just ended up coming up short. Some close losses that they shouldn't have lost against some weaker AAC schools this year. AAC overall has really had a down season. They really should have got some of those wins. They didn't, so kind of limping here into bowl season. Athlon Sports actually called it perfectly. They were projecting 6-6. That's exactly what Memphis ended up with. For Hawaii, I really thought this was their year. I thought that last season's 5-4, they showed some promise. They really did. And then going off of last season, when they went the season before that, when they went 10-5, I thought that Cordero was going to finally step up into the full potential that he had, and fitting here into Todd Graham's offense. I really thought Hawaii was going to hit their stride this year after going through so many years through last season, which was really a rebuild, trying to replace some big items on their team overall. But I really thought they were going to take the win, and it just didn't end up working out. So coming up short in this one this season, a 6-7 record overall, which is exactly what Athlon Sports was projecting for them. Worst loss for Memphis, a 34-31 loss to Temple, a 3-9 team end of the season. Very embarrassing for this program. But their best win was against a 7-5 SEC school, Mississippi State, who ended up that game 31-29. So it's been that kind of year. You take a 3-point loss to Temple, and then you have a 3-point win, a 2-point win against Mississippi State out of SEC. You beat a great team, you lose to a bad team, and it's just been kind of that seesaw year. But you talk about seesaw seasons, let's look at Hawaii here real quick. Worst loss of the year, they lose to 2-10 UNLV, 27-13. But they beat Fresno State, 9-3 Fresno State, who owns a win against UCLA, who almost beat Oregon. They have a win against Fresno State, 27-24, and then they come this close to beating the now number 23 overall San Diego State Aztecs, who ended up, that game was 10-17. So they came this close to beating San Diego State. They beat Fresno State, yet they can't win against UNLV, and it's just really come down this whole season to a lack of discipline and consistency by this Hawaii Rainbow Warriors team. Looking at best players here for Memphis, it's going to be their quarterback, Seth Hennigan here, 3,322 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, has been a force on offense for this program. For Hawaii, it's going to be, and this is the player I'm focusing on because their two best players are out. Day Hunter has transferred to my second team, Liberty, where I love watching this kid in college. I'm sorry, Hawaii fans, that he's gone. I know that you loved him too. I thought he played great for Hawaii. I've watched him play in a lot of his games as a Mountain West fan. I watch most of the Mountain West games every season. So I've seen him play. I can't wait to see what he can do for Liberty. But he's gone, and then Cordero's also transferred. He's out of the bowl game. So it falls on the shoulders of the true freshman, Braden Shager, who's thrown for 615 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's a true freshman. He did not expect to be the starter coming this year, but despite limited playing time, he's played well. That's 5 interceptions. That's concerning, but it's not like Cordero had a great interception rate either. So that 5 interceptions is concerning here, but he's going to be a key for this program. Not necessarily just for this game, but for going forward. I think that this is a guy who can carry the program going into next season. It really kind of starts with stepping up. And, you've got to, when you're coming into a program we've got a lot of issues right now, which Hawaii does, you have to grow up quick. And we're going to see if he can make that step forward. He's had a long time to prepare. See if he can make that step forward in this bowl game. So as far as keys to the game here, for Memphis, don't underestimate. Hawaii, their program is a bit in shambles right here. They don't have their leading quarterback. They don't have their leading rusher. But Hawaii is a team that has been able to surprise this season. It hasn't all come down to one player. It's come down to Todd Graham getting his staff on point, doing the right preparation, and coming in with a great game plan. It came down to the defense. The defenses have made a major impact in the games that Hawaii has been able to win, and the defense is intact coming into this one, or mostly intact as far as I'm tracking. And they can still get it done on the offensive side even without these 2 top players. The Hawaii offense was never necessarily rooted around one specific player. It's actually been so inconsistent, it hasn't really been able to focus in on one specific player, but that's going to maybe play to their strength in this one. That is the next man up mentality can work in the system that is there, because it wasn't necessarily built around one specific player's skill set. That might end up working to their favor. The main point here by Memphis is just don't underestimate this. Hawaii team, they're 6-7. They're on there's a lot of negatives surrounding this program right now, but maybe that's just enough to get them a chip on their shoulder to come in and get this win. For Hawaii, it's built for the future. You got no Hunter, you got no Date, you got no Cordero. Who cares? You're not going to have them next season. You need to start focusing on building this team for next year. Make that statement for next season's game, for the first game of next season. Make that statement today. Make that statement against the bowl, in this bowl game, in this matchup. It's next man up mentality, and the great teams are always able, no matter who is there, to step up and play competitively and win those games, no matter who's at the position, the quarterback, running back, whatever the key position is, wide receiver, defense. It goes through the entire roster. Next man up mentality for Hawaii. So Hawaii here, they want to build themselves to be a great program. They've been close in the past. They've had some great seasons, and I think that this year they can if they can start focusing on just getting their program together as a team mindset, building for next year, they can get in close and maybe even win this one. Now, predictions overall, I'm actually not predicting Hawaii to win this game. I think that they are going to be confident and closer than expected, hang in longer than expected. But I think that Memphis is just going to prove too much with the loss of so many key players for Hawaii. I think it's just going to be too much for them, and Memphis is going to get this win. If Hawaii had their top players, Cordero and Hunter, in this game, I think they would win it. But I think that the loss of those key players so close to both seasons is going to be just a little too much. But for Hawaii, right now, you're not working off of this season. You're working for next season. So go out there and just try and build for the future in this matchup. So that's my prediction. Hawaii calling Memphis for the win and calling over on the over/under. Thanks for watching this video. I'm previewing every single bowl game this season. Make sure you like and subscribe. As always, go Big Blue.